Welcome back, students. This is Amit Singh, and in this class of auditing, we would discuss few important types of audit. In the earlier class, we have discussed the general classification of audit, but there are certain important types of audit which are to be discussed, and they are important from the examination point of view as well. The first type of audit that we would discuss is private audit. Now, it is not statutory but conducted as per the desire of the owner. For example, there are three types of audit under the private audit mentioned here. The first one is audit of sole trade business. Now, a sole trade business audit comes under private audit because a sole trader invests his own money in the business. Public money is not involved. Therefore, it is not statutory on the part of the businessman, the sole trader, to go for audit of his accounts. But for the satisfaction, in order to know whether he is getting profit or loss from his sole trade business, he can go for auditing his accounts. Therefore, audit of sole trade business is only at the desire of the sole trader, not required as per the law. Now, the second type of audit is audit of partnership firm. A partnership is basically a form of organization where two or more people come together, again with their own money, and do a business. Now, when a partnership firm goes for auditing, it is normally to avoid any dispute between partners, because there are few partners who are active partners who are actively involved in the affairs of the business, but there are certain types of partners like sleeping partner who are not actively involved in the business. So in order to avoid any dispute, in order to avoid any misunderstanding, the audit of partnership firm may be conducted, so that the partnership firm runs very smoothly without any dispute. The third type of private audit is audit of accounts of an individual. Now, normally individuals also have their businesses, they have incomes from different sources. So, when an individual would like to pay income tax, for example, he should know what is the profit, what is the loss from different businesses that he is operating, and for that purpose, an individual may also go for auditing his personal accounts. Now, the second type of audit is government audit. Now, government audit, it is an audit of government offices and departments. Normally, government is responsible to the people of this country. Therefore, audit of those government departments and offices is important. For conducting the audit of government departments and offices, there is a Department of Accounts and Audit which is headed by Comptroller and Auditor General of India. The Controller and Auditor General, is an institution which conducts the audit of various departments and submits its report. And normally, the CAG report is submitted on various things, and it is submitted to the Parliament, and in state government level, it is submitted to the legislative assemblies. Second, the third type of audit is continuous audit. Now, continuous audit is an audit which is conducted throughout the year or at regular intervals. Normally, when the size of the organization is big and it is not possible to audit the accounts after the completion of the financial year at a time, the management of the business may decide that they will go for continuous audit. Now, please remember, continuous audit is conducted by the external auditor but not by the staff of the organization. Therefore, continuous audit is done by the auditor who is appointed by the annual general meeting. Now, there are certain merits and certain demerits of this particular type of audit. When you talk about merits, the first one is complete checking of all records. Now, because continuous audit happens throughout the year at regular intervals, they'll be able to verify almost all possible records, which is not possible when you do it after the end of the financial year, where the transactions will be more. So, when you do the auditing at the end of the financial year, normally few items on a basis of sample are verified. But when you do it on a continuous basis, you will be able to check all records. Second one, early detection of errors and frauds. In the earlier class, I've said that sometimes when you do the auditing after the completion of the financial year, auditing is most more or less a post-mortem, wherein the body, after the body is dead, you will try to conduct the post-mortem and find out why did the person die. But when you do the auditing continuously here, you will be able to find the errors and frauds as and when they are committed. And there is a possibility of taking remedial action so that it does not affect the business on a large scale. Therefore, early detection of errors and frauds is possible when you do the auditing continuously. Up to date accounts is one merit, wherein the accounts are up to date, and once the financial year comes to an end, accounts are more or less ready, therefore, it does not take much time. And the last point is there is moral check on staff. The staff working in the organization would know that the accounts are audited on a continuous basis, and they would have to work properly so that they don't commit mistakes or errors and they don't get into any frauds. So there are certain merits which are possible when you follow continuous audit system. But there are certain demerits also. The first demerit, it is expensive. It is expensive because you need to hire the external auditor and the staff of the external auditor throughout the year, and the payment accordingly has to be made. Therefore, what you pay for an annual audit is comparatively less than what you pay for a continuous audit. Second point is disturbance to the regular work. Now, when an auditor comes for auditing continuously rather than at the end of the financial year, the regular visit of the auditor may disturb the regular activity in the organization, wherein the staff may not be in a position to concentrate on their regular work. And when an auditor comes regularly, the third point says they may develop unhealthy relationship with the staff, wherein the auditors may join hands with the staff and thereby commit mistakes or frauds. I'm sorry. There is a possibility of committing frauds. Therefore, continuous audit has its own merits and demerits. But when your organization is a very large organization where the number of transactions are in hundreds and thousands in number, therefore continuous audit can be considered to be a good option. Then the next type of audit is balance sheet audit. Now, it is an audit wherein various items in the balance sheet like assets, liabilities, reserves, etc. are verified. This type of audit is not very popular in India, but this audit is followed in a country like United States. We, for the sake of talking about it, we in the theoretical term says that only items in the balance sheet are verified. But please remember, when you verify any item in the balance sheet, ultimately you have to go back and verify the different items. Suppose profit is mentioned, loss is mentioned in the balance sheet, therefore you have to verify profit and loss account and the items in profit and loss account. So ultimately everything is verified. Therefore, balance sheet audit, the name says that the items in the balance sheet are verified, but ultimately everything has to be verified, but it happens in the reverse order. Then the next one is management audit. Now, when you talk about management, management has so many functions. In order to run an organization properly, a management should have a particular system which has to be followed properly. If you have a proper management, if you have a proper organization, if you have proper functions, management will be able to run smoother. Therefore, management audit basically is an audit conducted to find out whether all the functions of the management are being performed properly. This audit may not be related to the financial transactions, this audit may not involve money, but ultimately, when the organization functions are not performed properly, it will have an impact on the profit or loss. Therefore, management audit may not be financial in nature, but management audit has an indirect impact on the profitability of the organization. Therefore, companies, the organizations go for management audit. Next is interim audit. Now, interim audit in itself is not a type, but it is an audit which is conducted between two annual audits. Suppose you do an audit after the end of the financial year, after 31st of March, and you again have to do it on the 31st of March of the next financial year. But in between these two, because of some reason, when you conduct an audit of the transactions of the organization, you call it interim audit. Then the next type is cost audit. Now, normally, any organization would like to find out the cost of producing items, whether it is spending more or less, whether it can control costs. Now, please remember, cost is a very important factor in any organization because the basic motive of an organization is to earn profit. You can earn profit by selling more, wherein you will be able to sell more and generate more revenue, or you will be able to reduce cost with the same sale. If you are selling 100 units, for example, and if the price of the product is 10 rupees, and if the cost is 8 rupees, you are getting a profit of 2 rupees. But the same 100 units when you sell, if the price is 10 rupees and if the cost is only 5 rupees per product, you will get 5 rupees profit. So the profit increased from 2 rupees to 5 rupees not because you are selling more, but the cost which was 8 rupees, you were able to bring it down to 5 rupees. So cost related matters, decisions, normally managements when they would like to take decisions, they take make or buy decision. When you would like to take a make decision, for example, for a product, you would like to know the cost of that particular product which you are going to produce. Therefore, cost is a very important factor in an organization, and when you verify the cost related items in your business, that audit we call it cost audit. Then the next type of audit is secretarial audit. Now every company nowadays has a position. Normally we have a chartered accountant who acts as an auditor, but we'll also have a company secretary who's a very important functionary in any organization. Normally, the known role of a company secretary is to ensure that the rules and regulations are followed and they are complied with. Therefore, when you go for a secretarial audit, you are basically trying to find out whether the organization is following each and every rule properly or not, so that in future there are no legal complications which arise. So when you conduct an audit to ensure compliance with the laws, you call it secretarial audit. And the last type of audit that we would talk about is tax audit. Now, tax audit is an audit conducted to ensure compliance with tax laws. There are certain transactions which are not important as far as tax payment is concerned. But when you prepare financial accounts, you add those items, you show them. But when you have to prepare items for payment of tax, prepare accounts for payment of tax, there are certain differences. Therefore, it is the duty of the auditor sometimes to prepare audited accounts for the purpose of payment of tax. Normally, the audited accounts and profit is one issue. But when you talk about payment of tax, there are certain differences. Therefore, for such purposes, for taxation purposes, we companies go for tax audit. Therefore, these are few important types of audit. When I say important, I am basically referring to the examination point of view, wherein they may ask you for short notes or essay type questions. I hope I was clear. Thank you.